Am I the a-hole for letting my husband dump my SIL and niece onto my MIL and FIL after my family's food had been tampered with? I, 37F, had taken in my SIL, 41F, Michelle after her husband had kicked her out of the house due to him serving her with divorce papers, and my niece Annie, 15F, went with her mom. Michelle had called my husband Josh, 39M, shortly after it happened, and we both agreed to let Michelle and Annie stay at our house until Michelle got an apartment. That was 2 months ago, and everything seemed to be going well, with both Michelle and Annie helping out around the house despite me telling them they didn't have to, and I didn't think there would be any problems with them living with us. That is, until yesterday, when we decided to reward my daughter, Claire, 13F, for doing well on her mid-unit test with pizza and her favorite blizzard. When Claire went to go get her ice cream out of the freezer after eating her pizza, Annie saw it, since she was in the living room, and asked Claire if she could have half of it since she wanted something sweet. Claire refused, because it was her treat, and Annie got mad and started to argue with my daughter. I overheard them arguing from the bedroom, and went downstairs to see what was happening. Claire explained what happened and I asked Annie if that was true, which she confirmed it was, so I explained to Annie that the ice cream was Claire's reward for doing well, and it wasn't fair to make her give up half of it. Annie just said okay, and I figured that was that. I decided to make spaghetti for dinner that night, since we had all of the ingredients, and once it was done, I went upstairs to ask my husband if he wanted to have his food now or later. When I went back to the kitchen, I saw Annie stirring the pot with a clear lipstick tube next to it that was streaked with something dark red. I asked Annie what she was doing, and she stammered out that she was just helping me by stirring the spaghetti. I didn't buy that for a second, so I grabbed the lipstick tube from the counter, sniffed it, and gagged from the smell. It was period blood, and my God, did it smell absolutely putrid. I thought I was going to throw up. I asked Annie as calmly as I could if she put the blood inside the spaghetti, but she refused to speak until I called both Josh and Michelle down to the kitchen. Annie broke and admitted that she was mad that I didn't make Claire give up the blizzard, so she decided to get back at us by putting the period blood in the food. Once my niece fussed up, I yelled at her saying that she could have made all of us sick, and that was a ridiculous and cruel overreaction over something so minor. Michelle interrupted me, telling me not yell at her daughter and that Annie just made a mistake due to the stress of their current situation and the hormones from her period messing with her brain. I said that I didn't care what caused her to do it, and I would never think of tampering with someone's food like that if they said I couldn't have something of theirs, even if I was going through what Annie is. At that point, my husband intervened and said that if Michelle was just going to excuse Annie's behavior and not punish her in any way, then both of them would have at my MIL and FIL's house. Michelle tried to protest, but my husband shut that down by asking if she was going to punish my niece for what she did. Michelle said no, so my husband told them to pack up their stuff. I didn't say anything because quite frankly after what happened, I wanted them gone too. Michelle and Annie packed up all of their stuff, then they left with an Uber, picking them up from the house. I dumped the spaghetti out, and ended up just ordered takeout. A few hours later, my MIL, 66F, had called me to scold me for letting my husband kick Michelle and Annie, dumping them onto her and my FIL. Apparently they were not prepared for guests, and had to call over a younger neighbor of theirs to help them clear out the spare bedrooms which had been used as a pseudo-storage spaces. My MIL said that I should have told my husband to let Michelle and Annie stay the night, call them to let my MIL and FIL know that they had to take in Michelle and Annie in, then kick the two out. Josh heard what his mom was talking about, and took the phone from me. He told his mom that she would have done the exact same thing to him and his grandparents if he tried to pull that while living with them. My husband then hung up on his mom and told me not to worry about it. I'm relieved that Michelle and Annie are out of the house, but I feel guilty that I let my husband push them onto my in-laws instead of doing what my MIL suggested. Am I the a-hole?